Don't they? Well, how pleased we are Denis Condon does what he does.
When I was about 15, my father bought one of these machines by mistake. He really thought he was buying a player piano, one that you pedal, and he actually ended up with one of these electric machines. And I wasn't interested, and it wasn't until I saw some of the names on the rolls. I was a piano student at this time, I was only a kid at the time, and I saw names like Schnabel and Rachmaninoff on the rolls, and I thought, oh, this is something different. So I went to the library and looked up about it. And I remember climbing under the machine and looking up and saying to myself, if I connect that tube to that nipple, the soft pedal should work. And,
so these are called player pianos?
They're called reproducing
pianos.
As distinct from the player piano, the one you pedal. These machines are a passive affair. You sit back and the attempt is that some great pianist is playing for you. I feel that it's not an exact reproduction of the pianist playing, but it's sufficient for the pianist to have said, yes, that's me playing.
You've got a machine over there which I didn't know existed. You've made this device work with the rolls and little fingers actually play the piano.
That's the way the very first player pianos worked like that. They were a machine that was outside the piano with fingers and feet, and you wheeled it up and pedalled away, and the little fingers played the piano. And that gave me the inspiration, as it were, to build this machine, because a lot of the rolls I collect I can now hear on a fairly new piano as a result. That's the Welte-Mignon. That one is quite an old machine. It's 1913, so it's 76 years old. And it was 60 years silent, which is amazing for an instrument, isn't it? And very romantic feeling to bring back an instrument to life that's been 60 years silent.
This device over here, a great sound. I really like the sound of that one.
That's the Ampico. That's the brand that my father bought by mistake, actually. The Ampico was probably the most sophisticated of all of them, and it had the biggest sales and the most imaginative advertising. They would say, buy the Ampico and you can have Rachmaninoff playing in your living room. On second thoughts, it might be better to hear Rachmaninoff play it. One of the fortunate things in my interest here is that I do have a two-pronged interest in it. I've got a musical background. I was a music lecturer, and I took early retirement from that to work on these machines. And at the same time, I seem to have some mechanical ability to restore them. Well, this is the collection. This is where it's kept. Some of the rolls have got the most elaborate, what we call leaders on them at the beginning. I'll try and show it to you here. They were most beautifully done. Look at this, with information about the artists, and every single one of these has got an original woodcut on it. You'll see it coming up here. Most beautifully done. Look at that, isn't it lovely?
How many rolls have you got?
Oh, about 8,500 now.
Are you still searching for more?
Oh, yes, if there are titles I haven't already got. That's one of the problems when I find rolls now. I find often that I've got the ones already in the collection.
Oh, I've got that one, thank you.
I still acquire them because they make great swaps with collectors.
What brought you to put them on CD?
Well, every couple of months I have a social night here where people come and listen to the pianos, and a group of people who are interested in recording came along, and they were quite knocked out by the resultant sounds, and they approached me and said, would I be interested in doing some recording?
And how many CDs have you got now of these?
There are 4 on issue now, but we've got enough material for 25 in the collection.
Is this a sort of drug that you occasionally wish that you weren't on?
Oh no, it's a hobby that's completely, well, I suppose it's a sort of fixation with me.
Have you got any other contemporaries in Australia doing this sort of thing?
Oh, a number of people, yes, and most of them started collecting from seeing this collection. I've got a network of people that I correspond with overseas. We have a club.
Oh dear, oh Dennis, not a club.
The Automatic Musical Instrument Collectors Association.
Of course.
AMICA, yeah. Good name.
Yes.
And there's about 2,000 members in that, all over the world, and mostly in the United States. And it's great to go to the United States for a holiday when you're interested in this, because you meet all these crazy people who own these machines.
Why do you say they're crazy?
Well,
obsessive.
One of the things, they're all got a certain stability. You don't own 3 or 4 grand pianos and move very often.
I've got to say that I have not been so moved by classical music for years. It makes CDs seem very sterile, because I imagine the performers are actually sitting there. In fact, you don't have to imagine. You realise that.
It's very real. If you create the right sort of atmosphere, you really feel that perhaps Al Granados is sitting there, or Rachmaninoff, or any of these pianists, and there are about more than 700 pianists in my collection.
Do they always edit out the errors?
Oh, yes, yes. Old Prokofiev said when he heard his rolls, he said, "Where are the wrong notes?" He was very upset there were no wrong notes.
Is there a temptation, because, look, I've listened to lots of CDs. It's not the same as this. To me, there'd be a great future in there putting music onto these rolls or whatever, so I hear a pianist actually playing a piano again. What do you think of that concept?
Oh, it'll never happen. The machines were...
But you know what I mean, though, don't you? It's quite different from listening to a CD.
Absolutely.
Whatever, so I hear a pianist actually playing a piano again. What do you think of that concept?
Oh, it'll never happen. The machines were...
But you know what I mean, though, don't you? It's quite different from listening to a CD.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree with you. It's got an originality or a nearness. You feel very close to the artist and the spirit of the artists. I feel it's, even though I know how they work, I still feel sometimes I'll look up and I think, golly, that really is extraordinary how it sounds. 40 years on, I still think that.
Amazing thing that is Rachmaninoff playing. It was just terrific. The story doesn't do it absolute credit. Now, here are the 4 discs that are obtainable. Don't ask where you can get them. You go to a record shop. Horowitz, who died recently. A recital of various ones there. Stravinsky and Gershwin. You like Gershwin? Great stuff there. Swanee. I heard Mr. Rogers playing, as in Rogers and Hart. Great stuff. Oh, it's marvellous. Every home should have a piano, especially when you can get Rachmaninoff to play. Well, is it weather next? Weather after the...